This is a second stimulus check update. In this video, I'm going over the latest updates as well as the possibility that the next round of stimulus checks could be given on prepaid debit cards. But first, let's look at this. 130 million people of 150 million people have received their first stimulus check. That means 20 million people are still in the dark and haven't received their first stimulus check yet. The IRS just made a news release yesterday saying that they have added more live phone operators, about 3,500 telephone representatives, to answer questions about your economic impact payments. So if you are among the 20 million who haven't received your check yet, I recommend calling the IRS. And oddly, on this news release that they published yesterday, they didn't have the phone number. Without providing a number, I guess they're setting up a barrier to entry for a lot of people to call. Well, here is the number if you were curious, 1-800-919-9835. Next, big news update, which I think is really important. It came out last night. According to Fox Business, the IRS is to issue coronavirus stimulus payments on prepaid debit cards. Now, to be clear, this is for the first round of stimulus checks, but MetaBank will send nearly 4 million payments on prepaid debit cards that you could withdraw funds from in-network ATMs, as well as use it anywhere that a Visa debit card is accepted. And it'll be mailed in a package that'll have activation instructions and I hope something that will verify someone's identity, because I think this is a really good idea. I'll explain why, but my concern is if people were concerned about checks being stolen and deposited under someone else's name, Visa debit cards, I think, are even a bigger target. According to Treasury Secretary Steven Mnuchin, Treasury and the IRS have been working with unprecedented speed to issue economic impact payments to American families. Prepaid debit cards are secure, easy to use, and allow us to deliver Americans their money more quickly. Recipients can immediately activate and use the cards safely. So I think these prepaid debit cards is great. And what I think it is, it's a trial run for the next round of stimulus checks. Rather than sending paper checks, which are taking weeks and months. This is the current paper check schedule. And as you can see, it goes all the way until June 26th, but actually it'll go until September to get all the people who haven't received a check yet. So that timeline is really slow compared to these prepaid debit cards with the $1,200 or $2,400 on it. They're sending it this week. This news just came out last night, and if they're able to send 4 million people prepaid debit cards this fast with this amount of money on it, it makes me wonder, why didn't they do this before, over the last 6 weeks that stimulus checks have been going out? Regardless, I think this is really good news, because if this trial run is successful, that means the next round of stimulus checks will come out a lot faster via direct deposit or on this prepaid debit card. Now, I'm making a stretch here. I'm not saying that the next round of stimulus checks will come out on Visa debit cards. I'm just saying if this trial run works out, my prediction is that it will probably happen. In regards to the second stimulus check, it's still in the Senate and it is going through negotiations, although Republicans are waiting to see what happens with the economy as states starting to open up, including my state. I live in South Carolina, Myrtle Beach specifically. And the other day, Myrtle Beach opened up over the weekend and restaurants are open, indoor and outdoor seating. Hotels are open, tourists are flocking in. Some are predicting that a second wave of COVID will happen. I'm curious, what is your prediction? Do you think things are opening up too soon? Will there be a second wave? Let me know what you think in the comments. Senate Republicans are still criticizing the HEROES Act, saying it has a lot of fluff and pork in it, and I completely agree with them. And their main focus, according to Republican Brady, the payroll tax cut from an economic standpoint is much more efficient. I agree, as long as people are working, a payroll tax cut can benefit the people. If people are not working and can't work, they want to work but cannot, and not receiving unemployment checks, then we have to cater to those people. Besides Senate Republicans wanting a payroll tax cut, according to Mitch McConnell, he also wants the next stimulus bill to have to shield companies from liability during the pandemic, which could also help businesses reopen more quickly. So I completely agree with Mitch McConnell here that there needs to be some legislation for businesses to not get sued for opening up prematurely during this pandemic. If a restaurant opens up and someone with COVID goes into that restaurant, infects everybody, or there's some COVID related issue, then lawsuits will happen with that restaurant or any business under these circumstances. So I agree with Mitch. This is a really important topic, but also it's so important that it shouldn't wait until June for this bill to pass. This is something that all these lawsuits and liability protection, these restaurants are opening up now. These businesses are opening up now. Waiting until June for something to happen isn't going to help these businesses. They need help probably within the next week. So if Mitch McConnell really cared about these businesses and not getting sued, I think they should create their own separate bill, pass that this week as soon as possible. Otherwise, lawsuits will take out all of these businesses that have already been suffering throughout this whole pandemic. And if you want to learn the latest information when it comes to the HEROES Act, you could click this playlist over here. It has the latest updates, or click this video over here, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care, be safe. Thank you for watching.